All right. Welcome to another edition of the Everything NYJ podcast. How you guys all doing? Liam, Italy Jet, and we have a very special guest, Tyson from Let's Talk Jets. Tyson, how you doing, my friend?
What's up, fellas? Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for
Yeah,
coming on,
welcome,
man.
welcome,
Super
welcome.
busy, making
It's,
the
just,
time for us.
it's a fun time to be a Jets fan, man. We all want to talk football now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Gino, how you doing?
Man, it's been a long day. It's going to be a long weekend, but I am ready for the Packers. I am ready for the
Dude.
Packers. And Tyson, I'm a big fan. I'm glad you're on the show. Thank you for taking your time to be on the show. And also, I just have a question for you, buddy. How did Let's Talk Jets Radio come about? Because you guys are awesome. What you guys do.
Well, first of all, I appreciate that. We actually started as a call-in radio show, man, on Blog Talk Radio. We'd be on our cell phones calling into like this virtual studio, and people would call from their cell phones. We would just take phone calls and answer calls and just do all that. And that was kind of all we really did. And then when the pandemic happened, everybody's like, hey, man, why don't you guys do a YouTube channel? I'm like, who the hell wants to do YouTube? What are you going to do on YouTube? We didn't know anything about this. And then it just kind of like, we're like, all right. And then like, I had no idea what a live stream even was, dude. They're like, live stream a game.
Oh,
And I'm like, why would I want to? Oh, Elmo's here. So I'm like, hi, Elmo. I follow the rules.
hi, Elmo. Yeah.
But I'm like, how do you, like, what's a live stream? I didn't know what a live stream even was. And then that's how it just started, man. And we've been really blessed and fortunate to have like a really cool, chat and community.
Yeah, man, absolutely. What year did you guys start doing it?
It's been a while, man. I couldn't even tell you the year. We've been doing the YouTube channel like what, 3 years now, 4 years. Then before that, it was probably a good like 5-6 years of like blog talk. Been around a while, man. It's just kind of figuring it out. Didn't really know how to do any of this stuff, But I mean, the whole goal of the channel was, to be completely honest with you, was I was tired of the media telling fans, well, Jet fans think this. I'm like, how do you know what Jet fans think if you're not a Jet fan yourself? And it drove me crazy. So I'm like, let fans have a platform. Like, don't tell me what I think. I go to the games. I watch bad football. Don't tell me Adam Gase is a good coach. Don't tell me this and don't tell me that. We know what we see. And that was kind of the goal, was give a platform to the fans to say, hey, you know what? Call in and speak your mind and really tell the media and everybody else what Jet fans are really all about.
Oh, I agree 100% with that. That's a great point. You were actually like one of like the first YouTube content creators I saw. I remember the first video I saw of you guys. It was 2019, Gaze's first year.
Oh.
The Bengals were like 0-11 maybe at the time, and the Jets. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Sure enough, one of the winless teams beat the Jets, and I remember I was just like, I was at the supermarket and I was like just looking for something to watch, and you were just going off about it. You were just freaking out, flipping out, and I was like, I like this guy, It's like I'm like watching, and then I started like watching a couple more, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start like tuning in, and I'm gonna start watching every Tuesday, and
Well,
sure
it is,
enough,
and it's like we don't portray like we're experts, man. We're not gonna give you all this like X's and O's and film breakdowns. We're all fans, just sharing our opinions, and like, it, man. You see when it's terrible coaching or terrible performances, or when a team quits, or when you're just incompetent. You could see it. So we just call it like it is. We're uncensored, and some people don't like that, and that's okay. But it's just, it is what it is, man. It's the joy of being on YouTube,
It's certainly a unique Jets channel. It really is. It's definitely one of a kind, Talk about your channel. Like, what are your thoughts like on your channel? Like we have Elmo here,
yes,
who
sir.
is a regular on your show, and just what about like the characters in your chat on your show? Like, what about like your fan base? What do you think about that?
It is such an awesome, authentic group of just genuine fans that are looking to talk football and have a great time. We've been blessed, man. We've done a lot of fundraisers, and we get a ton of support giving back to the community for a litany of things. And it's just really cool, man. Everybody is just nice. And it's just like, it's long time diehard fans that are just either frustrated and want to talk about it, or they're happy and they want to share their emotions. And it's really cool, man. It's like, I look forward to every stream we do, because now it's like all family. Like we have like Elmo, like we have Big Bird, but we have like people like with all these crazy names, but it's enjoyable though. It's like, it's a nice escape from the world. Like we live in chaotic times at times where you're just like, you know what? I don't want to watch news on TV. I don't want to watch TV. Let me go on YouTube and escape. And we do these streams. We have so much fun where it's like, you know what? A 2-hour reprieve. Then we go back to, the real world. But it's so much fun, man. And I'm telling you, I cannot be more appreciative and thankful for everybody that joins us, man. It's wild.
Definitely.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. How did you and Kevin link up to start a channel? And don't you have another guy on there too? I
Yep.
forgot his name. How did you
Tyrone.
all link
Tyrone,
up?
yep.
Tyrone. How did you guys link up to start a channel together?
I was actually doing the show with somebody else. I started with Jet Nation, actually, jetnation.com. They started the show, like Jet Nation Radio. I was doing that. And then I was like, you know what? The guy was super cool, but he didn't want to do it anymore. I'm like, well, maybe I'll go on my own. So we'll try something on our own. And then Kevin would listen and say, hey, he called in and say, hey, I want to volunteer. Do you guys need any help doing anything? So he used to screen the calls for us. Like people would call into our studio. He would take their name. What do you want to talk about? Then we'd bring him on the show. He would do that. And then a couple times my co-host couldn't make it. I'm like, Kevin, why don't you come on, dude? You're super well-spoken. You know the Jets inside out and backwards. And then he came on and like we just had instant chemistry. And it was like, this is, it was just we just took off, man. Like I enjoy hanging out with him. We argue all the time, but he knows his stuff though. And he's like a real passionate diehard fan, man. Like when the team loses, he's angry for 3 days. When he wins, he's happy for a week. Like he lives and dies with the team, which is super cool.
Yeah, we had him on a couple months ago, or maybe about a month ago. Not too long ago. Yeah, super knowledgeable, man. He really, you too, Tyrone as well. That's what's awesome. Like, you guys like joke around, have fun, like say like all like the crazy things, but you guys are really knowledgeable fans at the end of the day, and it's like that's why it's such like a unique platform, and it's just like all these people like you've made like friends, like like I've shotgun with you, I've talked to you in person. I would have never met you if it wasn't for like YouTube, and that goes for Matt O'Leary. I've hung out with
Yep.
Jake Asman, all these crazy guys, and it's just like at the end of the day, we're all just fans, man. And that's
But
one of the
there's
craziest
so
things.
many. What I like is there's so many great content creators. You have you guys, like you mentioned, Jake, Matt O'Leary, Jets Central, Jets Talk 24/7, Green Bean,
Yep.
and to me, like the content out there is better than what you get in the media. It just is
Oh,
because
absolutely.
it's more informative, it's more opinionated. Like a lot of times, the guys in the media have a narrative where they got to push a certain thing. We don't have any narratives. We're not getting paid by the Jets. We don't have to worry about what SNY thinks. We don't care,
Right.
and that's why you guys can do that. We can do that, and I think it's just. I think the Jets probably have amongst the best content creators in the NFL because there's so many
Hands
of them, right? There's so many, and the team sucks. We haven't won anything in a decade. No playoffs, nothing to really, sink our hat, nothing to be proud of. And I think it's just so awesome, man. Really.
We have 1 year that basically went to shit at the end of it.
2015, that was it.
Yeah, that's all we had. So, how did you become a Jets fan?
Oh man, it's funny. My entire family is Giant fans, and I wanted to go to a football game so bad. But it was when I was younger. I was like 14, and like at that point, there was a waiting list for the Jets and Giants. You couldn't get tickets, So my father's trying to get tickets, and he could only get Jet tickets. And he's like, you know what? I'll bring him to a Jet game. He's not going to know the difference. Who cares, So we go there, and as a kid, man, like the players look larger than life. The stadium is huge. You're surprised by all this, the crowd noise.
Yeah.
I heard the Jets chant, dude. All I heard, I was like, oh, wow, like this is awesome. Like this place is loud. They're doing a chant, and they beat the Browns. They blew the Browns out by like, I don't know, some ridiculous score. I'm like, wow, this team is great. The crowd is fun. I'm like, I'm a Jets fan. My father's like, you've got to be kidding me. Like you're supposed to be a Giant fan. I brought you to this game because I couldn't get Giant tickets. And that was it, man.
Imagine Let's Talk Giants.
Could you imagine?
I wish we'd have some Super Bowls and stuff. That'd be crazy. That's the whole thing. It's like we all like Gino's from St. Louis. He went to the home opener this year was his first Jets game because, well, Gino, why don't you tell the story actually?
Well, I worked for the Rams for about 10 years. 2 of them were volunteering. My dad worked for the Rams for about 25 to 30 years. And first time I ever saw a Jets game was when Mark Sanchez was here with LT and Jason Taylor and Damian Woody, Alan Faneca. And I was working on the sideline. I was a flag guy for them, the flag guys that come out of the tunnel. And literally I almost got fired because I was rooting for the Jets when it was at home. And it was so funny because I play with these guys in video games. I always got McFarlane figures from them. Like it was just always what I loved. All my favorite players were on them, and people were just like, "You're a Jets fan from St. Louis. You chose this life. You chose this life." And I'm like, "Well, I really didn't have much to go on when the Rams were in town." So
Yeah, it's true.
at the time. So it was really cool, and I'm still enjoying it. I love doing this. I love being a fan, and it's great. I really do.
Yeah,
Never a
we
dull
all
moment.
remember our first Jet games. I remember my first Jet game. I was like 4, and 2004 it was, and like I went with my dad, my uncle, my cousin. The Jets were playing the Dolphins at home, and I just remember Wayne Corbett like running it in for a touchdown, and my dad was just so excited that he didn't even think to like pick me up. So like some stranger picked me up from like behind me. I don't know who that was picking me up. Some guy like dumps beer on me. It's like I go home to my mom. My mom's like to my dad like, what the hell? He reeks like alcohol. He's 4 years old. He's tired. It's just,
That's outstanding.
yeah, that's my first Jets experience, and I gotta be honest. Like shotgunning with you, I was wearing Gino's Klecko jersey, and it's like not much has
Yeah.
changed. I came home reeking like alcohol.
Yeah.
It's come
Had to
full
get that
circle.
dry cleaned.
I owe
Had
you
to get
money.
that
I'm
dry
sorry.
cleaned.
I'll pay for that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Tyson, I have another question for you. You and your tailgates. The first time going to a Jets game, was the home opener in the tailgates. I know a lot of people do tailgates like Matt O'Leary and all them Jet
Mhm.
Lounge. When was the first time that you actually did like a Let's Talk Jets tailgate? And was that awesome getting to meet your fans? Was it kind of shell shocking, like that you're a big deal, or was it kind of like you just brushed it off, no big deal, regular day?
Dude, we didn't know what to do, so we actually did a Let's Talk Jets tailgate in Carolina last year for the
Oh
game.
wow!
So
Oh wow!
one of the tailgate companies reached out to us. They're doing like this big thing, like, "Hey man, you guys want to help us out with this?" I'm like, "All right," and we sold it out, which was wild. I'm like, "This is ridiculous." I'm like, "What the hell do we know? We're only two bozos." And it was crazy, dude, to actually have people walking up and saying, "Hey man, we appreciate your show," and it was just like, "Wow, this is crazy!" Like we're just YouTubers, man. Like we all do the
Yeah.
same thing. We're just normal people. We're just normal fans. Like it was crazy, man. And we did that last year. Then like a couple times this year, we had like the home opener. We had a tailgate. And we don't charge anybody, dude. We buy
Mhm.
tons of food. We bring tons of extra beer and like water. You want to come by and have some? Have some. We're not charging nobody, dude. Like just if you want to bring
Right.
your own and use our grill, you want to bring your own, use our coolers. That's kind of the way we roll, man. We're not out to take money from people, and it's been awesome, dude. I'm telling you, we are so fortunate, and it is so cool to see people like when you talk to somebody in the chat or on your videos, like, you just see a name, like, oh, whatever. But then when you talk to them, a lot of people are bringing their family, their wives, their girlfriends, their kids. Dude, it's so cool. It's like now you know who they are, so when you talk to them again, you kind of have like a relationship, and it's
Right, right.
it's it's really really cool, man.
That's how I got to know you and Kevin. A
Yep.
couple of green and white scrimmages, and then like my girlfriend knows who you guys are now. She knows nothing about the Jets. It's like
Yeah.
it's cool. It's like one big family. And even like you guys probably have like honestly like the most like coolest tailgate. Like once Kevin can get his grill started, and we hope the steak is cooked fully. It's like he has some like really bomb ass food, man. Like it was delicious, and so it's like you guys are just like so cool like doing that. It's like you guys could be probably making a fortune off of it, but like you guys just want to give back to the Jets fans, and it's like
That's
we're
it.
all
That's
here
we're
for
all
the same thing.
It's
It's
all
awesome, man.
community, man. It's all community. So it's
Yeah,
like, listen, everybody hooks us up. Like we have super chats and stuff. And what we just do is we take that money we put towards a tailgate. Prime times, God knows how much you spend on the food or whatever. And it's like,
yeah,
you know what? Come by, enjoy, say hi, drink whatever you want. We don't care. And enjoy the game. Enjoy the tailgate. Because a lot of times the tailgate's the best part of the game. So it's
yeah.
like you got to enjoy that. Then the last couple of weeks that changed. But it's like we try to make the most of it.
Right, right. And you used to be a season ticket holder as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, for a long I had them from 95 until probably 2012ish, 13. I just got tired of it, dude. I just got tired because when the Jets are bad, the tickets have no value. You got to buy the
Right.
preseason games, which they're worthless. And then once
Yeah.
once it gets to like November when the Jets are out of it, all that money you spent on tickets, you can't even give them away. So I was
No.
losing
Mm,
$500-600 a year easy on the tickets, which it's like
mm.
so it starts annoying you where you're losing money and there's no return on your investment. Where you're like, they're not winning, I'm losing money. Why am I wasting my Sunday doing this? So
Right, right.
you can go like last year. I pretty much went to many. You can go as many games you want to for less than face value. So like I felt
Right.
bad for PSL holders and everything else, but I'm like, listen, when the Jets suck, $100 ticket you can get for like $60, $75 on game day, and you're sitting lower
Mhm.
level. So
Right.
it is what it
So
is.
you've been obviously to a ton of, I'm guessing you sat through the co-tight years,
Yep. That's
and
my
then
first
the
year.
early
That's my
2000s.
first year.
What a way to welcome a new season ticket holder.
Oh.
So, like the Jets in the early 2000s, they weren't a bad team. They were in and out of the playoffs every couple years. Chad Pennington and Vinny Testaverde. What is if you had to pick one, like what is your favorite moment at a Jet game if you could think of one? Whether it be the
Oh.
old stadium or MetLife or
Oh man, there's so many. I mean, I was at the Monday Night Miracle with Jumbo Ellie caught the touchdown pass, that comeback. I mean, there's so many,
my
man.
dad tells me about that all the time that they were like starting fires in the parking lot and everything.
Yeah, I
My
mean, I
dad was
think
at that.
My favorite game has to be the Jets Jaguars playoff game where
Okay.
they won. Parcells was there. Keyshawn had an incredible day because Jet fans were waiting for that moment, man. They won the AFC East. The crowd was insane. Like the parking lot was full like 8:30. And when
Yeah.
they won, like there was literally people running around the parking lot handing out champagne. Like we were just celebrating. We knew we were that good. One of the best teams in football, one home playoff game. Like, and it was incredible, man. Like, a moment I'll never forget. Just like the happiness and the celebrations that were going on, like that feeling you had finally as a Jet fan was so damn cool, man.
Yeah. We could only hope to get back to those days.
You ain't
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah, definitely. Do you have a favorite like? So you used to be a season ticket holder. You
Mhm.
did. I know you probably did a little bit of traveling,
Yep.
and I'm guessing you've gone to the training camps and stuff,
Yep.
even at Hofstra or at MetLife. Is there a favorite moment for you, or is it with Kevin or with Tyrone or any of those guys? Any beautiful moment going to those events?
I mean, I usually go to one road trip a year, so I've been
Cool.
to a lot of them. But I mean, I was at the when the Jets played the Buccaneers, like the Wayne Corbett, the flashlight game.
Yeah.
So that's where Keyshawn was traded to the Buccaneers, and he was discounting Wayne Corbett, and then Wayne Corbett ends up catching the game-winning touchdown. And the funny thing was, the Jets were losing most of that game, and we were sitting in pouring rain, humid, miserable, and we were getting taunted by Buccaneers fans like you have no idea. When Curtis Martin throws that pass and Corbett catches it, it was just like it was so great. Like you shut the Buccaneers fans up. You felt great for Corbett, who was an all-time great Jet who didn't deserve what was going on to him. So that
Right.
was phenomenal, man. That's just like moments like that you can't forget. And practices, the really cool thing about Hofstra was that you had a lot more access to the players. Like what now
Mm,
in like at Florham Park.
Yeah.
Florham Park is beautiful, but you don't get autographs. You can't talk to the players. Like Hofstra, they had 2 days. So even when
Yeah.
Favre was there, so like you could sit there and at the practice, the players come walk over, or when they went to the cafeteria, you could sit around the cafeteria. They all sign autographs. Like you could
Yeah.
like the one moment I'll never forget. To be honest with you, is Curtis Martin always signed autographs. Always after every practice, no matter how hot it was, always signed them. So he came down. I had like a jersey that he was signing. I wanted to get a picture just with him. So he takes a picture and he walks away. And my girlfriend's like, "Oh no, like the picture didn't come out." And I'm like, my luck. He heard that. He's like, "I got you, dude." 5 minutes later, he came back, took another picture, and then kept walking away. And I'm like, dude, like how
Wow.
class
Yeah.
act is that? Like an all pro running
Yeah.
back with 500 people in line to get an autograph, and he does stuff like that. Like it's just such a class act, man.
He cares about the fan. You
Yep.
know.
Yep.
So, who is your favorite Jets player of all time?
Oh, of all time, that's a good. I'd probably. I mean, that's a good question. I'd probably say Curtis Martin. I like an Aaron Glenn, Victor Green, guys like that. Like
very good.
yeah, like I was like Aaron Glenn was probably he's like the first jersey I ever bought. That's when you had to
Wow.
go to Cosby's in New York City buy the custom ones. But like
Oh
those
yeah.
guys, like like they were just the older Jets were so cool, man. And Curtis Martin he was just so resilient. He'd play hurt. He wanted to win more than anybody. Like the one game he played with 2 hurt ankles. Like so, I think it's got to probably be those guys.
Yeah. I wish they would come back to Hofstra. Like I've been a couple of
There it
times.
is.
One of the only. Yeah. Yep. One of the only memories I have actually at because I was young. I remember I went in 2010, the year that they were doing the Hard Knocks actually.
Yep.
And they were at Hofstra. And I don't know why, but I was just like I was more into like the cheerleaders like behind the stands.
Oh
I have
man.
like a I have
Oh,
like a Jets
oh
hard hat, and I was having like all them sign it. And like little did I know that like Sanchez and like uh
Yeah.
my little cousin met Chris Jenkins, and like she still talks about it. It's like she used to think like that. She used to like love like Nick Mangold. I'm gonna marry him one day. And
Yep.
she's like over there like meeting all of them. Like I'm like not even paying attention to that. Like I'm over here like with freaking like Amy and like Jessica. Like I don't even know who these people are. It's just
right. Or
that's
Nicole
my life.
2 or Amy 2
Yeah,
or yeah,
yeah.
Jessica 3.
Yep.
I'm like looking at like all these signatures. I'm like, I can't even like make out what they're trying to write here. Like who is
Right.
this?
It's so
But
different now, man. It's so different now going to
Yeah.
training camp than it used to be. It used to be so much more fun, like a lot more access, a lot more, just especially 2 days like that. Now it's just a lot more
I
commercialized.
I feel like with there's really nothing New York left about them.
Nope.
There's nothing. Like they don't come to New York. They don't do any practices. Like no events. Like I
Everything,
agree with
everything
like
they
what you're saying.
promised they would do.
Yeah. Yep. So another question for you, and it's like really like a what if. If they were ever to move out of MetLife, which they would never, where would you build a stadium? Like, do you have any, like, would you bring it back to like the city, Long Island? Like, what would you do?
I mean, to be completely fair, I mean the Jets are a Long Island team. That's where most of their fans are, man. Like that's where they belong. Like they want to do the West
That's where
Side
I
for a
am.
while with that whole years. I mean, I hate MetLife, dude. I hate MetLife
Yep.
Stadium. I can't stand it. I'd rather drive an extra 45 minutes to have a stadium for the Jets, their own stadium in Long Island. I'd be completely happy with that, to be honest with you. That's where the fan
Yeah.
base is. I mean, if you look at Jersey, like Northern Jersey's Giant fans, that's where most of them are from. It's just
Yeah.
the Jets are a New York team. That's where they should go. They belong there, and it would be awesome. Like they deserve it. I mean, MetLife's just a glorified toaster. I hate that place.
It's disgusting. Yeah. It's like you look across the street, you have like the Giants logo right there. It's like
Yeah,
there's really no Jets feeling about it.
and
There's really
everybody still
not.
calls it Giant Stadium. Let's be honest. And nobody says
Yeah.
MetLife. They call I'm going to Giant Stadium to watch a Jet game. That's what everybody's saying.
Yeah.
So
You know?
Oh,
It's like like the inside is like so ugly. It's all like gray and it's like gloomy. Like there's nothing like there's no green and white, like nothing popping. It's
dude,
like pictures of players, black and
dude,
white.
you go like I went to the Jets Dallas game in Dallas to their new stadium. It's incredible. You go to so many other stadiums and it's like they're like remarkable. Like you're looking around, you're in awe. You go to MetLife, you're like, all right, like you're nowhere near impressed by it, man.
Right.
And it's like you're paying how much for what? Like what are you paying? Like what are you paying all this top dollar for to see what? It's like there's nothing fancy about it.
Or even at like Lambeau, they have like the Packers Hall of Fame. It's like the
Yep.
Jets could have like their own like Hall of Fame. Have some like memorabilia in like glass cases, stuff like that.
Lambeau's incredible. Like that's what I'm saying. You go like even Tampa's nice, Baltimore's nice, the new Philly Stadium's nice. Like they're all nicer. I haven't even seen SoFi yet or New Vegas Stadium, but it's just you figure the money that two teams have, the Jets and Giants. This is what they came up with. Like it's embarrassing. So,
Yeah.
man.
Even at
so
the time. Go ahead, Gino. I'm sorry.
So no, it's fine. So my dad has been to every single NFL stadium, but he hasn't been to like the new stadiums when he worked for the Rams. And he said that Tampa Bay in the new SoFi Stadium, along with Dallas, were his top three favorite stadiums. And he said Lambeau, it's just old and dirty. He said it's just old and dirty, but you could tell it's just ancient. Like it's really cool like atmosphere. But I could definitely see that it could be ancient for sure.
Yeah, I mean we were sitting on bleacher seating in Lambeau, but
Right.
the tailgating is incredible. The people are incredible. Like I went to like the museum. I went to like you can do a tour of Lambeau, you can do a Lambeau Leap, all that stuff. But it's the history, the tradition, and the people, man. Like they're so generous, they're so kind. Like it's just like you walk through the parking lot, like, hey man, try some of our venison, try some of this. Like it's just a really cool festive atmosphere. And whether they're 1-16 or 14-2, they're going to give they're going to be sold out, and they're going to be like the crowd's going to be into it. It's an awesome experience.
It's a waiting list.
Yep.
There's a waiting list for it. A couple of my friends have season tickets to the Packers, and it's just a waiting list, and they're like way up there too. But it's all
that's the way
cool,
the Jets
though.
us's to be for a waiting list, and that's completely gone now.
So
So Tyson,
we can't even fill out a stadium.
Yeah,
right.
It's ridiculous.
It's Tyson. My next question for you is, when it comes to Let's Talk Jets Radio, your show is so funny. I think we can all agree that it's one of the funniest channels on YouTube. When it comes to the schedule of the show, is it just random? Do you just wing it, or is it actually scheduled?
Like you mean our shows, or just the content on the show?
Content on the show.
We fly with it, man. We don't do.
Okay, nice.
I think twice I put together like a little thing that we're like a topics to follow, and about 10 minutes in, we blew that. We're like, well, there goes that idea. That's not going to work. And now we just let it fly, man. We just kind of like feed off each other, and obviously you try to say we'll go through offense first, whatever. But like one little topic could set us off, and then like, I mean, if you guys watch the show, like somebody in the chat will talk about a music band. We'll be talking about music, talking about food, talking about movies. Then we'll talk defense. So it's like we get. I mean, Liam, we get sidetracked pretty easily. So
and then you even have musical guests. That was
yeah.
He was on Asman Sunday night. I was listening to Asman live, and then sure enough, he comes on and he starts playing. I'm like, wow, like very interesting.
Yep.
And then and then today I'm listening to Matt O'Leary show, and he's calling in there. I'm like, hey, he's a celebrity.
Yep. Yeah. It was interesting though, because we embraced that. We have guitar players. Like Elias used to play guitar in there. We had a guitar battle at one point. So it's like, yeah, we don't script anything, man. We should. We probably be a little more organized, but we don't.
Well, that's like what's cool about it. It's like Because like I hear like all the time, like there's like people that's like not like even that caller from Australia, like
Mhm.
he's a Browns fan. Like
Yep.
it's just like it's like not even Jets fans. Like they could care less about the team, but it's like
Yep.
they enjoy like they become like you acknowledge I'm like on the team, and then it's like and then we have some fun. It's all over the place. It's great though, It's like probably like one of the most like unorganized, like the best unorganized show that there
That's
is.
especially it's like the funny thing is people send us videos of kangaroos now because I'm fascinated by kangaroos and koalas. And so they'll call in from
Oh.
Australia and they show us koalas in the back row. They'll show us like the kangaroos. Now they're emailing us videos of them, which is just funny as hell. So
Yeah.
we get sidetracked, man.
We try to stay on topic. It's like I have pages and pages of like notes in it, and it's like sometimes it goes like right out the window. And then actually, like me and him are like arguing. It's
So
you know,
yeah, I got nothing. This is all I got. I don't have anything. I just wing it.
I don't even have a
I'll go
pad.
on like yeah, I'll go on like 15, 20, like 20 minutes earlier, and like he sees me like writing down shit. Like he's not like he's like talking. I'm like uh-huh. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm just writing down. And then like I don't even like go by it. Like I might as well just throw it out the window.
But that's better content though, man. Like that's where
Yeah,
it's like
right.
it's authentic and genuine. It's like if you see somebody that's really scripted or reading notes, then it's like, all
Yeah.
right, man, like just be yourself. Like
right.
let's,
Well, it's like more or less just like stats from like the game and that kind of stuff because
yeah,
like I don't really like in my opinion like what makes like a good lineman is like when you don't hear about them during the game.
yeah,
Like unless it's like Elijah Vera Tucker, like oh yeah he's playing here today, but like I don't really like focus in on like Dwayne Brown. Like I really
yeah.
don't. Like I notice like when McDermott like blows a play, but it's like other than that like I'm watching Zach, I'm watching the receivers. Like I'm not really watching like the offensive line and that kind of stuff. So it's like I try to get some like
Right.
stuff on that. But other than that, it's really
Makes sense.
just yeah. So switching over to the Jets a little bit, we were talking about Lambert earlier. That's this Sunday. What are you thinking?
I'm excited, man. I mean, this is a Jets team that's won 2 games in a row. They have a good nucleus of players, a young nucleus of players that are competing very hard, and their skill positions can basically challenge anybody, man. You look at the Packers. I mean, the Jets have 2 very good corners. That's excellent. They have a pass rush that's coming on now. Carl Lawson, John Franklin Myers, Quinn Williams. If you have that, that's a problem for anybody. That's just football. Now it's a matter of what can the Jets offense do? Like, can Zach Wilson keep playing the way he's playing, spread the ball
Right.
around? I guess the question is how can the offensive line play? How they're going to keep playing, and then they should be competitive, dude. Week in and week out, they should be competitive with anybody. Maybe I think Buffalo is just a class ahead of everybody else. But this isn't your same old Packers that are going to win like 15 games every year. This isn't like when you think Packers, you think Devontae Adams, always high flying, all this stuff. They're not that team anymore, man. So I think the Jets, they have a chance.
Yeah.
I think overall, I think when we look at the Packers now, the chemistry is just not there with the wide receivers. The only thing I feel like we got to worry about is just the running backs.
Yep.
A couple of the best running backs in the NFL, and their defense hasn't really been playing well either. And Rodgers is scrambling, so I think this is a chance to definitely win against them because the chemistry is just either going to get better down the road for them, or because we got to hit them where they're figuring things out, just like the Broncos.
Yep.
They haven't figured anything out either. So it's the time to win against these teams. I think we can do it. I feel like we still don't get the respect. We're never going to get the respect,
Right.
even when we win against these games. So I have a question for you about the Dolphins game. Sorry, I'm going back. But what did you think about that Dolphins game? I mean, we all hate the Dolphins,
Yep.
the NFC East rival. Was it awesome?
That was desperately needed, man. That was exactly what this team needed, where it's home game, AFC East. They were almost down with the missed field goal. They got lucky there, but then the fourth quarter, they take another step and they just start mauling them, running the football, getting sacks, playing fast, playing furious. And that's exactly what you want to see. And that's how the young team keeps growing and building. And you're winning together games like that. That pays dividends down the line, man. It does. I mean, and it's Zach Wilson earning the respect of his teammates, making big money throws in the fourth quarter. Like, it's all positive. And like you said, it's beating the Dolphins. Like, we all hate the Dolphins. Like, literally hate them. Like, they've been salty all week. Well, this and that. I'm like, good, dude. I don't care. It's a loss. And now, it's a competitive game. We're 3-2, and we're still in the hunt. Like, the goal is to stay in the hunt to the bye week, stay in the hunt late in the season, and they're on that right path, man. That's a big statement win for Solid, dude. I don't care about the quarterback. They knocked the quarterback out. That's the way the NFL works. They knocked him out, next man up, and they beat him.
Next man up. Everything. Next man up on everything. It doesn't matter. I agree with you.
Exactly.
What's funny about that too is like Matt O'Leary pointed this out today that like during like I don't follow any Dolphins like content creators or anything. I hate them all actually. And he was saying today that there was plenty of like content creators like over like training camp. They're like, oh yeah, like we like Skylar Thompson. Like he's gonna be like a great like third
Yep.
string quarterback. So all of a sudden you play him and like he didn't even really shit the bed. It's like
Nope.
I don't want to hear the excuse that oh it was their third string quarterback. Because there was a point in the game where they almost came back and beat us. The
Yep.
fact is like they almost just blew a lead. Like obviously, like they were down by 2 points, but like that could have easily changed, and then like God knows what would have happened from there. But it's like they found ways to be competitive. So it's like at the end of the day, it's a fair loss. And the way I look at it too is like we beat the Cincinnati Bengals their Super Bowl year with our third string quarterback.
Yep.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
there's plenty of other teams playing like with backups. Cooper Rush is playing out of his mind. It's just like
The NFL is all
there's
about
ways to
adversity,
win.
man.
Yeah,
The teams that win games, you got to overcome adversity, whether it's your left tackle going down, your quarterback, whatever. Like the Jets, I mean, the Jets didn't have Zach. I mean, that's like nobody
right.
feels bad for you. At the end of the day, it's like this is a conference win. It's a division win. It matters. I don't care how we get it. We can win ugly. If we win ugly 10 times, we're going to the playoffs. Like I don't give. There's no style points in the NFL. It's just win football games.
Right.
It's all that matters.
Right. So you were at that game, as I know.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it on TV. That's the loudest that I've heard MetLife in years.
Yep.
What was the experience being in the stadium there like?
This was the first time in a long time that had like a big game feel to it, where you can feel like the tension and excitement in the parking lot. Like the parking lot by 9:30 was getting full. Fans are all fired up. Like you could feel like palpable energy where it's like, all right, we're walking into something today. Like this is going to be a real, like not the same old Jet game where you're like, all right, you got to wait till they're up by 10 points for any kind of crowd noise. The crowd was involved early on. Sauce Gardner with the safety, the crowd's going nuts. And it's just like, and then the thing is like I had, I don't know, 5 or 6 Dolphin fans sitting in front of me and they're talking like, it's like you have that going back and forth. So you want to win more than ever because you don't want to get taunted by fans in your own stadium like we're used to, so it was awesome. Like Fireman had that place rocking. It was so cool.
It's that's what he was trying to do at the home opener. It's like, I don't know if like the weather played a role, but it's just, I was like ready to freaking rip the seat out in front of me. Like I was banging on it. Like I was all excited and just.
But having Zach back helps too, though, man. Like having Zach Wilson back, like now it's like this. Like this is all the guys you want to see play, and then are playing well. So now you're like, this is it. Now we have our team winning, so it kind of gets you a little more fired up.
By like halftime at that, I was completely like tuned out. Like week one, like I could care less. I was ready to leave, and for the first time, I actually left the Jet game early. Like me and Juno, we bounced like probably like middle of like we didn't even stay for the Conklin touchdown. We weren't even there for that. So I walk out. And Green Bean is walking right by us, and he goes, I've been coming here for years, and I've had like 1 or 2 good moments in this stadium my entire time. So it's like, what do you think like the culture changes? Like, do you think like it's starting to change? Like, do you expect more like ruckus crowds like that every week, or?
I mean, I think if they split the next 2 games, then next home games, like the Patriots, isn't it? That game, I mean, you'll see a lot of Jet fans. It'll be again because then it's like you have a winning record and you're showing growth. You're showing something to believe in. Like for so many times you go to stadium, we get to sell ourselves something. Like we got to sell ourselves on Adam Gase. We got to sell ourselves on our offense we know is going to suck. But now it's like, all right, we now have something tangible. Like we know that these are young playmakers. We want to see Sauce Gardner play. You want to see Breece Hall play. You want to see these guys play. Give you something to buy into now. So split 2 games, dude. It's all you got to do. Split the next 2, and I think that next home game will be crazy.
Yeah.
So you said you were there, right? So I want to know how to feel when you saw this happen.
Awesome. Tremendous, dude. Tremendous. Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like we're waiting for these big moments from these players. Like Sauce Gardner getting the pick, Sauce Gardner getting the safety, Breece Hall going with 79 yards. Like all this stuff. You're like, this is Quinnen Williams mauling Tyreek Hill. Like those are the moments you've been waiting for from this team. But that's like, we don't have many moments like that, man. Not many.
No. We remember them all because you'd probably count on one hand in the last 10 years.
It's true.
It's crazy, man. So with this win, because I don't care that we beat backup quarterbacks. Like you beat who you play, because if we would have lost to those teams, and then you have like guys like Brady Quinn like doubling down like on his take and everything. It's just it's we're not getting the respect we deserve at all. But has the expectations changed at all for the rest of the season? Because like going over like the schedule review, probably like May, June, July, whatever, whenever it came out, I don't think many teams. I don't think that many fans were looking at like Green Bay as like a possible win.
Mm-mm.
It's like
Mhm.
the Steelers. We were like, like I don't know about that. Cleveland. They have a great run game. I don't know if we could beat them. So it's like, has the expectations changed for the season, especially because like Denver, like they're terrible. Like that they might be the worst offense in football.
Yep.
New England, like they're still going to be competitive, but like they're not what they were. It's like these
Mhm.
are possible. Like we could win these games.
Yep.
So has the expectation changed for the entire season in your opinion, or?
I mean, I'm still like, I think we all said we were hoping for 2-2 after 4 games. That was like our dream scenario. We just kind of stay relevant. But I was still thinking like this is an 8-win team. That's kind of where I am because so much changes, man. Like right now, like Russell Wilson blows and Aaron Rodgers can't figure things out. But 4 weeks from now, they can get it figured out and they can be a hot team. Like
Right.
Yeah.
some teams start off slow, then they'll go out and win the 8 games at the end of the season. You're like, where'd this team come from? Like, so a
Mhm.
team like the Broncos may suck now, but a team that we're discounting now can be on fire in November and surprise us too. So I'm still in that 8-win category, 7-8 win category. And hopefully I'm wrong. I'd love to see playoffs, but I just think that we're on it. We're doing good things, but there's going to be some down games. You're going to have like that roller coaster ride because it's still a young team. They're going to make stupid mistakes. That's kind of the
Yeah.
expectation. But I mean, I think if they win the next 2 games, you're like, well, now we're talking something. Then you're,
Right.
you're 5-2.
And I really want to see how they perform, like with like an elite quarterback like an Aaron Rodgers,
Yep.
because like we haven't played the best quarterbacks yet. Like
Yep.
the biggest thing, like with Sauce, like I wanted to see him go against like a number one like receiver. Like they didn't have him on like Jamar Chase too often. That was more like DJ Reed, but he was going like one on one with Tyreek Hill. Yes, he had that one penalty that he grabbed him like around the waist, but it's like I want to see these guys like I want to see them play the best. I
Yep.
want to see them play the
Absolutely,
best
dude.
of the best because it's okay. We don't have to be perfect. It's okay if we make the mistakes. I think 3-4 years down the line like that's a problem.
Yep.
But it's like I want to see just some progress. I just want to see them just play the best. I really do.
You want to see
See
him
where
beat. You
see
want
where
to
they
see
are.
beat the Patriots, beat teams like that, beat the Packers. Like beating the average teams is cool, but you got to get some of those top level teams to beat them to start getting even more confidence. Say, hey, you know what? We can contend with these guys. Or if you're not beating them, you're losing 31-28 in the fourth quarter, and it's just a bad break. You know what I mean? Like, let's not get blown out. The game over in the third quarter. Like, be a lot more competitive week in and week out. Steal some wins, and I think you have something. Then it's like, all right, you know what? Year 2, we know what it is. Now, next year, we're talking playoffs. Like, you know what? You've
Mhm.
got to win 10, 11 games this year. Anything less than that is unacceptable because that's your rebuild. You know what I mean? Year 1 was garbage. Year 2 is like, all right. Year 3 is no more excuses. You got to make a run at it.
Yep.
And not only that, it's the Bills are running out of time. They need to win something between now and the next couple of years, and then they have to pay everybody. They have to pay a number of players. Our Jets and Dolphins window are starting to become the top teams because Patriots are just going to continue to go down, and the Bills, this is their exact window. If we can continue the way we're going this year and next year, we will definitely have something special. And the thing is, we got all these rookie contracts. We're only paying for like 3 or 4 years. We can
Exactly.
splurge a little bit this year and next year. So it's the sky's the limit if we can continue to grow and keep that chemistry and have all the injury guys come back like Quincy and Max after the bye. I'm very excited. But I think for you, my next question is, are you concerned with the tight end usage? We brought in Conklin, we brought in CJ Uzama, we got Ruckert and Cager, but they haven't been playing much in the last few games. You worried, not worried, or you don't care?
I mean, I was initially worried that they weren't using tight ends as a safety valve or a check down for Zach. I was like, I just kept thinking that his easy reads were becoming very difficult. But then last week you saw Uzama is just a beast in blocking, dude. He is just mauling people. And now they're getting him involved in the passing game. He had like 2 small catches last week. Rucker is slowly getting more reps too. Cager's he's like a huge wide receiver, but I think it's going to be based on what defenses they're playing, how they want to attack them. But I like how they're using Uzama. To me, Conklin is just maddening because he makes the big plays and then he gives it back where it's just like, come on, man. Like, you got to be more consistent. You can't keep fumbling.
Yeah.
You can't keep dropping it. But it's a nice to have because we're almost being like a little spoiled right now because we haven't had a tight end in like a decade. So it's just like we're being critical. But I think LaFleur is going to start figuring things out, especially with Zach back too, because initially he had Flacco. You got to figure out what's he going to do. So I think there's going to be a lot more improvement there. But there's potential. I'd like to see what Rucker can do. I'd like to see more of him getting chances in the passing game.
Right.
Agreed.
I agree with that 100%. The thing with that too is like he was injured like all of like training camp and everything, so
Yep.
it's like I want to see him out there. I'd rather see him out there rather than Conklin. To be completely honest with you, like I get like
Whoa.
we paid. Let
Oof.
me explain why.
That's a hot take.
That's a very hot take, but Conklin has been impressive to a point. Are you satisfied with him so far? Like overall, like do you think it
He's
was a
just
good signing as of right now?
well, I mean, I wanted him, dude. He was on my free agent list. I wanted him badly because I think he's a player on the rise. I'm just surprised he's this inconsistent. I never in a million years thought he's gonna drop this
Right.
many passes. Never thought this.
And like the reason I do want them out there, Conklin and Uzombi, because like we did pay them, like like
Yep.
they're worth something. But it's like somebody like Ruckert, like he's just coming on. Like I'd rather be inexperienced and young and like have him learn on the fly. And because we're gonna have him on the team for the next 4 years,
But the
hopefully
only
even longer than that.
the only thing with that is his blocking's got to be on point, though. He can't be a liability in
Yeah,
blocking. That's the only problem. Like, I think Conklin and Uzomah are both really good blockers. Rucker's probably still finding his way. So if you have him finding his way next to an offensive line that's already battered and bruised, and they're trying to find their way, they may need a little more stability right now. That's the only thing.
right. I mean, yeah. I mean, that is a very good point too. It's like not saying I don't want to see them out there at all, but I'd like to see, um, even like Cager. I want to see him get like more reps. It's like I think for the first time in a long time we could kind of be excited about tight ends. Like the last tight end I was probably excited about was maybe Herndon. His rookie year, I
Yeah.
was pretty excited about that. But it's like I don't even think he's in the league anymore. Like I haven't heard anything about him in years.
No,
He went to I think the Vikings. I could be wrong about that. I think it was the Vikings, and just
he didn't do
I don't even think he's
anything.
in the league.
Yep.
Vikings, Buccaneers, Texans. He's on the practice squad with some other team in the NFL right now, but he
Damn.
was with that.
I
He
didn't
was
even know he
with
bounced
them
around that
for
much.
that. Yeah. Well, people
I
can
didn't
always
know
use
he's
a tight
bounced
end,
around.
so you never know. But yeah, he's on a practice squad somewhere. I just forgot where.
Mm.
But yeah,
So,
it's interesting.
what are your thoughts on like the comparison for DJ and DJ Reed and Sauce to like Cromartie and Revis? Like, do you like that comparison, or like what are your thoughts on? Because like even like
Um.
you're getting like Hall like in like Curtis Martin comparisons. The one I really don't get is the Braxton Berrios Wayne Beck comparison. Like,
Mm-mm.
do you like the comparisons for the young players compared to like the old players?
I tend to let the players be themselves, man. Like let
Right.
Sauce Reed be the best Sauce Reed he can be. Like the Revis comparison is natural because he's an all-time Jet great and he played corner, But
Mm-hmm.
it was like Revis was like next level. I mean, he was ridiculous day in and day out for as long as he was a Jet. When he came back the second time, wasn't so good. But I'd rather just like I don't like comparison. I want them to be themselves, dude. Like just
Right.
let Sauce be Sauce. I like the fact that Jets have two very good corners though, because that changes your
Mm-hmm.
defense. That's phenomenal. And like the Brees Hall comparison to me, it's like a LaDainian Tomlinson. If I was going to compare him, it wouldn't be to Curtis
Right.
Martin. But that's kind of where everybody wants
I
to,
agree.
you
I
know.
agree.
Yeah, they always tend to like lean towards like the best player ever at that position, in Jets history. It's just
Yeah, I'd rather just enjoy them for who they are and just say, you know what, these are two great players. Let them be themselves.
right, right. Gina, you look
I
like you're
think
thinking about something over there.
I am always thinking about something. Um, I I agree with you, but I really like the Sauce and Reed connection. Reed's only 25 years old. I think we could sign him like for more years if he
Yep.
continues to do what he's doing. And I agree with the Martin and Brees Hall thing. I think let these players just do their thing. They all got different personalities from one another. Just let them ball out like they've been doing,
Yep.
and just have them be their own person. I understand everyone likes to make comparisons, but overall, they're them, and they're pretty damn good football players. We have a bright
Yeah.
future ahead of it, and they are the reason why. Now,
You know,
I want to talk to you. Sorry. 1 second, maybe.
well,
I just want to
just
talk.
okay.
Sorry. The
Go
O
ahead.
line, the O line, Tyson. Are you worried anymore, or no?
Um, a little bit because we're going to play probably a lot more better defenses. And I'm just curious to see how they handle when players start coming back. When George
Yeah.
Fant comes back, what are they going to do? When Max Mitchell comes back, what are you going to do? Like, who's playing where? Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, I get the whole Dwayne Brown thing, but a part of me, just because I'm just whatever, is I was curious to see Elijah Vera Tucker stay there. Like, could he be the left tackle of the future? And if he is, then keep him there. But that's kind of like, all right, you got to put your best five linemen on the field. So I understand Dwayne Brown's back. You move Vera Tucker, but now he's playing right tackle. When Max Mitchell comes back, where's he going to like? At some point, you want to have five guys in the same spot for at least a series of games, so you can like solidify your offensive line. So it's concerning because you're changing a guy every week, or two guys for that matter, and at some point it's going to bite you in the ass because there's no
Yeah.
continuity. So I like the talent, but I just don't know what's the final blueprint. Like, what's the final answer on the offensive line? Like you just can't you can't keep changing it every week. You know what I mean? You got to kind of figure out what you want to do with these guys. And like Elijah Vera Tucker is a phenomenal talent, but what's his best position to play? Do we even know that yet?
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. He's basically the Joe Klecko of the offensive line at this point,
Yep.
which it's a good thing. But like you said, like you want like the continuity. So,
Yep.
do you think next year, if God willing somehow Mekhi Becton is ready, do you think he comes back and he's like automatically a starter? Do you think he has to earn his spot back, or what are you thinking?
I'm saying no. He hasn't played in 2 years. I think he's obviously under contract. He's going to come back, but I wouldn't count on him for anything. And I like him. I was rooting for him this year. I really was. I was hoping to
Yep.
see him come back and do great things. He didn't. But now it's like, for the best, what's best for the team is find other guys. I figure my guess is George Fant's probably not going to come back. He's probably pissed off at the way they handled him, right? And he didn't get his contract. He probably won't be back. Dwayne Brown won't be. Well, he's going to be here, but you got to find young guys. So I'm curious about Vera Tucker playing left tackle, to be honest with you. But Becton is a guy, he's like a depth guy. If he comes back in great shape and proves you wrong, that's a nice problem to have. But he's not like he can't be like your starting plans right now.
Right. No, no, absolutely. Like, but the whole offensive line, it's like you can't really fault. I mean, I guess no, no, you can't fault Joe Douglas for it. But like, not many teams have like five starting like offensive like linemen like at like one position. Like we don't have like
Yeah.
five starting tackles like on the roster. But it's just like the way that they handled Becton. It's like he came back. He clearly wasn't ready. Like they refused to like talk about his weight because he was clearly overweight.
Yep.
He's in training camp. He's limping. He's kneeling. He's throwing up on the sidelines,
Yep.
and then he goes on a crash diet. Which you train. Like how that is. Like that never
Yes,
works.
sir.
It's never healthy. It's how do you feel like do you feel like the Jets like kind of foobarred the whole Mekhi Becton situation this offseason, or do you think that was more on him and not so much on the on Joe
I mean, I
Douglas
think
and
I think once he goes to mini camp, he's not in shape. It's a red flag. That's like, you know what? We've got to find the legitimate backup. We knew Connor McDermott sucked. We all knew this. It didn't.
yeah
Udoga and McDermott aren't good. That's just
Mhm.
it's just the way it is. So to have him on the
right
team, like, well, that's our plan B. No, it's not really plan B. That's why they were trying to get other guys in there, Riley, Reef, and everybody else. I think at that point, I think the Jets were worried about the media perception of Becton. They were trying to like hide all these things, and if they go out and sign a left tackle, like, oh my God, Becton's not going to be ready. But who cares what everybody else
yeah
thinks? Solidify your line. So, I don't. I give him credit for losing the weight in time for training camp, but obviously he went on a crash diet. And then, like you said it. It never works, dude. Like I was at practice, you saw it. He was literally laboring. Like it was too much, too fast. He was trying to do more than he should. And the Jets, if they were smart, should have said, you know what, man, we appreciate you trying to gut it out, sit out a week, put him on the IR, whatever you got to do. So you know what, we appreciate you making weight, but you're just not there yet. Let's get your
yeah
conditioning. Let's get you healthy, and then come back on the field, and we'll figure it out. Instead of like the tough love approach where he was just completely struggling.
yeah he shouldn't have been out there 100%.
No.
And it's like like I wrestled, so like my weight was 132. And I remember like a day before, like I struggled. I went from 150 in August to like 132 in November.
Yep.
And like my coach wanted me to get down to like 126. I got to like 128. I'm like, I can't do it, dude. I physically can't. My mom hated it. In high school I was like a skeleton. And
Yep.
like I remember like one time I came in at 138 a day before tournament. I crash dieted, and the
Yep.
next day I had like shakes and everything. It's not
Yep.
healthy for your body, and it takes a very long time to recover from that too. That's not just
Sure.
like you hydrate, you eat, and like you're good. Like that's weeks up. Like
Yep.
you're really screwing your body, and it's just
I see it too,
I
dude. I
get
see it. I see it with the fighters,
yeah
dude. You see it too.
yeah
Like
yeah you see it all the time.
the guys that stay in shape year round have easier cuts. You perform at a much higher level. The guys that got
Right.
to drop a crazy amount of weight, and then the last week they're worried about it, and they're doing all kinds of crazy cardio and the sauna and this and that. Dude, the results don't lie. You know exactly what happens.
Right. Yep. I felt it firsthand, and it's like that's kind of like what pisses me off with Becton because like a lot of it was on him. Like it was laziness. Like I get you can't walk, but like you could go into the kitchen, you can make like a healthy meal.
Yep.
Like don't eat the ice cream, have like a snack. Have like fruit, something like that. And it's just he was too busy, and like you're not seeing him really on social media at all this year. Like he's not going back with Samini back and forth.
I think he
Where like
realizes,
last,
man, it's like it's 2 years out of the league now. It's like I think he realizes that this is he's got a tough trail ahead, man, to come back. Because now you're completely, you're injury riddled. You're an injury prone player, so you can't be
Mhm.
counted on until you prove you can be counted on. He may not get that chance here.
right, even his rookie year, I mean, a lot of that was on Adam Gase, him like playing like with the shoulder injury, but like he was
Yep.
still injured at the end of the year. Like you can't help injuries, but at the end of the day, like if you do have them more times than not, then yeah,
You
you
got
are
it.
injury prone.
But going into next year, you've got to put more money into the offensive line and clean it up more and just make it just as stout as possible. Look at if you can get this offensive line where it's a like you say good couple Pro Bowlers and like solid guys. Zach Wilson's going to flourish. Your running backs are going to flourish, and then your offense goes to another level. Right now, you're trying to patch things together, after the fact. So
Is that a position of need? Like, would you address that in the draft?
I would
The
do.
offensive line?
Probably, man. I mean, we probably need a center too. I mean, depending on what you think about McGovern, it's
Yeah, some
just
people love him, some hate him.
because a lot of times, the guys that become available in free agency never pan out when they go into the teams. They get the big contract, and then when they go start playing, even like Tomlinson at this point, what has Tomlinson been? Has he been the player everybody thinks, or is it just the guys that like it's funny because like everybody says he's playing really well, but then you look at like I don't know, it looks like he's getting blown at the ball a lot. Just like, but is he guilty? Is he a victim of the guy next to him changing every week too? I don't know the answer to that.
Do you think? I'm sorry, Gino. Like, do you think with the offensive line, would you spend like a premium draft pick on that, or is
Yeah.
that something in the later round? Yeah.
I would absolutely, man. Because you think about what else you have your corners, you have your receivers. I mean, I would invest heavily in offensive line, make it as good as possible, and then the other spot would probably be linebacker because linebacker I think is going to be a hole because they seem to have lost a step now. They look a little bit slower. They're not as physical and fast as other teams.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Get a center, get a left tackle in the draft next year. We're going to need, you don't know what McGovern's going to do. Fant's out. We all know that. Becton, don't even want him here next year. I've been rooting for him a lot. But it's like Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson gets injured again, that's his third injury in 10 months. I know people don't want to see that, but that's very scary.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where you don't want to become the injury-prone guy, and that's what a lot of these players have become for now.
Well, that's the big thing for Zach, man, is stay healthy the rest of the season. Like he's got to prove he can stay healthy for a long period of time. You can't keep missing 4 or 5 games every year. That's going to separate you from everybody else.
Crazy plays.
Yep.
Like I saw him like dive like head first for a touchdown. I'm like, oh, like it scared me because like that crack on TV,
scared the crap
sounded
out
like a
of me.
And he's
car
lucky,
accident.
but dude, with the whole Tua thing, he's lucky he didn't get a concussion test after that because he got cracked going. When he dived head first, he got hit pretty good going down. And that's the first thing I thought. I'm like, oh, great. Concussion, he's going to be out for the rest of the game. But he jumped right back up and he ran to the sideline. But that was an interesting moment in the game.
There was another play where like he kind of like stayed on the field for a second, like he was just kind of sitting there, and I'm like, I said to my dad, I said, oh, he's injured. I said, damn it, he's injured. And then like he stands up, I'm like, oh, thank God. But
definitely a concern.
Yeah.
Heart attack here. I'm pulling it up right now. This is where I was like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
Yep. I was gutted. But then he got back up, and now we're fine now. But overall, for Zach Wilson, we all know the chemistry he has with this team on and off the field, especially that everyone wants to play for Saleh, right? Yep. There's been complaints on players on a Saleh basis, but with Zach Wilson, what does Zach Wilson have to do to be a proven Pro Bowl quarterback in coming years? What does he have to do this year to get to that level?
Well, he's starting to do it now. Win football games. Like this, like last week he had against the Steelers, he had to make some big money throws. This week he managed the game effectively. He played within the offense. He fed the ball to playmakers and didn't make any colossal mistakes. So just you can be a game manager. If you have to make a big play, make it. Don't cost him, and just stay keep your huddle galvanized. Lead your huddle, have a firm command of the offense. Know what you're doing. Know the routes. Be a film rat. Gym rat. Team first. And everybody's going to buy into you. And then you're going to win football games. And when you start winning and then people say, you know what, this kid's a leader. This kid's my guy. The one thing with Josh Allen, that team loves him. Josh Allen, his teammates will fight for him tooth and nail every game, no matter what. Zach has got to become that. He's not going to be Josh Allen, but you've got to have that team where they have your back no matter what because, you're their guy. He's got to establish himself as that. And if you become a solid quarterback or playmaking quarterback, players will want to come here and play for you. They already have like the playmakers. You already have Garrett Wilson. You already have Elijah Moore. You already have Breece Hall. Like, so there's already a lot of good pieces already here. It's just staying healthy, being consistent, and growing. And I think you see it now, man. Like last week at the line of scrimmage, he knew what he was looking at. He saw what he was looking at. He was audibling, checking things down. Those are all encouraging signs right now.
Yeah, and like he's not doing anything that's like really like jumping off like the page. Like
Nope.
he's not making like ESPN, but like he doesn't have to. Like Patrick Mahomes, like I think he's a great quarterback, yes, but he's very reckless. Like how many times you see him like not even looking, just chucking the ball downfield. Somehow, by the grace of God, he's been getting lucky for all these years. But like
That's talent, man. I'm like his luck. I think he's just
it
ridiculously
Yeah,
talented.
he's a freak of
it
nature,
is.
man.
Yeah.
He's a freak of nature.
No, it is, and that like it's not to like discount him, but I think that we could all agree that he's a little reckless. You know, like
But
he's
so
making
is
the plays and
Favre,
everything.
dude. Some of the big time,
Yeah.
all time
Yes,
great quarterbacks are like that. That's
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
the gunslingers like them, then you have the more conservative guys that don't take those chances, but are consistent with their accuracy. But I mean, I love Zach, dude. I mean, he made some throws in the Pittsburgh game. You're like, holy shit! Like we don't see throws like that. So I like that he has that ability, but it's just he's got to know when to use that, when not to use it. Don't take the big hits. Don't take the big sack and lose 20 yards. Like know when to call it a day and live for another play. You know what I mean?
Right.
yeah, and I feel like he came in, like he kind of like originally like wanted to be like that gunslinger,
Yep.
and the game is like slowing down for him. Like he's understanding, I don't have to be that gunslinger,
Yep.
and it's like the players are like really buying into him. Like like they're going on like vacation together, like like they're
Yep.
in Idaho, like they're playing golf, and like they're all hanging out. Like you could tell, like they seem like they could just be like casual friends, like outside. Like if there was no football, like these guys would be like hanging out, like playing sports together, just
You can
chilling.
even, what the test is though? Watching him on the sideline. That's when you
Yeah,
can tell what players are standing next to him. Who are they talking to? Like him and Garrett Wilson are always talking. Him and Elijah Moore talking. Like, see what the interactions are on the sideline. Is he sitting by himself on the bench like Sam Darnold used to do, or guys actually around him? Is he walking up to guys talking to his offensive lineman? What is he doing? You see a lot more interactions now, man, which is a good thing.
yeah, and like especially like with Sam, it's like you'd see like the offensive line just like kind of quitting, like he'd get his clock cleaned, but it's like because like. I'm not saying like they didn't care about him. Like I think every team does care about their quarterback, but they all knew what it was. Like they knew it was a failing system. They knew it wasn't going to work. They didn't, Adam Gase was a used car salesman. Like they all knew that.
But it's
It's
also a
like
leader, man. If you have to have those leader
yes,
characteristics, you have to have that, that follow me mentality where it's like, listen, I'm going to take this shit. Like, we're going to score a fucking touchdown. And they do it. Like,
and
that's
they
the
did it.
kind of
Yeah,
stuff you need. Like, I don't think, like, to be honest with you guys, I think to be a quarterback in the New York Jets, you have to have some swagger. You have to have some attitude because this is the market. This is the fan base. Like, everything's
Yeah.
tough here. So you can't be timid. You can't be passive. You have to have that fire in your ass to be like, we're winning this stuff. We're doing it our way. And this is how it goes. And if you do that in this market, everybody's going to buy in. You'll be fine. If not, like Sam was too timid. Like I like Sam. Like I was happy we had him, but like his demeanor just wasn't made for here. It wasn't going to work.
yeah. No, I agree 100%. It really was.
And not only that, it's New York. Like you have to have a good coach. You got to have a coach that buys into it. And
Helps.
that's what they're doing with Salah. They're buying into what the product is on the field. And we haven't had a coach like that in a very long time. When could we say that? Rex Ryan? Todd Bowles, maybe for a little bit. But
a little bit, yeah.
But it's all about what you put on the field in a coach. Everyone will go to bat for you if you have a good coach. And just like what Salah has done in the offseason, they brought guys that he has coached, that they loved. And you see it. Quan Alexander goes up to him all the time at the end. Reed goes up to him at the end. Lakin, that's what you want. And we haven't had that for a very long time. Now, going into the Packers, I know we've been very critical about Joyner, right? I think we've all been critical about Joyner. He's been very good with the Steelers. He did okay this past weekend. What do you think about Whitehead and Joyner? Do you think their chemistry is growing for them at a good time against the Packers?
Man, I hope so. I'm a big Whitehead fan. I've been disappointed for the most part. I've been really disappointed. I thought he was going to be like an enforcer back there, lighting everybody up, doing a lot of really good things. You don't see that at all. And then Joyner just seems like he's lost in space. They have him so far back. He always seems like he's like on a cushion for everything. But maybe they're establishing chemistry. Maybe they're figuring it out. Maybe Ulbricht's figuring out how to use them too, because you figure they didn't play in the preseason that much. So it's like you're learning on the fly in regular season games. So I think a lot of teams are doing that, where the first 4 or 5 games are sloppy. And then as you guys figure it all out, then it gets by week 9, week 10, you're playing quality football. But I think they both could be a lot better. I'm still pissed Pinnick isn't on the team. I I don't understand cutting Pennick at all. Like, he was getting first team reps in practice. Great athlete, great mobility, did a lot of good things. Because I have no faith in Ashton Davis at all. And then
Yep.
Will Parks, I think, is pretty good, but we don't see him enough. Like, I don't like Salah seems like he's really loyal to veterans in certain positions, especially safety. So I hope they play better, dude, because you play teams like the Bills, they're gonna scorch you if you play like they've been playing.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I agree. Yep. So we're gonna get ready to wrap this up. So, what is your thoughts? Like, what is the current state of the Jets? Like, coaching staff and everything. But like, I feel like they have grown. Like, we're seeing like growth. Like, were you on like the Fire Ulbrich train and
Yeah,
like has he
I've been
impressed
just
you?
we'll see. I mean, I think the jury's still out on him, to be honest with you, because I think now we're seeing that they have a lot of talent on defense. You have good
Right.
corners, you have a pass rush. Like, Bryce Huff being inactive drove me absolutely insane. I did not understand why he was
Oof.
inactive. Now he's
Oof.
active, he's making a difference, right? Like, so you're seeing that Quinn Williams can be a disruptive player. John Franco Myers can be disruptive. So you have all these players that can do good. Then let them know their roles. The rotations on the defensive line make no sense to me. I'll never understand that. If that's an Ulbrich thing or a Salah thing, whoever it is, it's stupid. So
Yeah.
we'll see, man. I think the Jets are a team on the rise. I like that Salah's maturing as a coach. He's showing a lot of really good things, game management, time management. They're playing hard for him for all 4 quarters. I like LaFleur. I think LaFleur is very creative. I think he's good for Zach Wilson. Ulbrich to me is still unknown. I'm not so sure that he's a guy that you want to count on in a big game. Like, if you had to say season on the line, they're playing whoever, the Patriots, would you feel comfortable with Ulbrich's game plan? I mean, I wouldn't have a lot of faith in it.
50-50. 50-50.
Right? He's got a lot to prove, I think, still.
Right. Gino, anything else before we wrap it up?
One more thing, Tyson. It's been great having you on the show, man. Big fan. I love what you do. Glad we got another friend of the pod and just a friend in life for sure. My last question for you is the linebacker position and also the defensive line. Is it getting better? Do you think it's solid? What do you think? What do you think the state of the Jets' front 4 and linebacker position are right now?
Well, the defensive line's getting after it now. I mean, I think Bryce Huff is an infusion of talent. Jermaine Johnson's hurt now, which sucks. But Carl Lawson's coming on, man. I mean, I'm a big Carl Lawson fan, right? Like, I was happy they signed him. Then he got off to a slow start, but now he is just being disruptive. Quinnen's playing at a Pro Bowl level, getting a sack a week. So the defensive line is good, man. I think they're going to get a lot of pressure. The problem I have is that it seems like when they get moved a little bit, CJ Mosley he's either hurt or something's wrong, because he's not shedding blockers. He seems like he's always a step late and he's arm tackling. So having Quan Alexander helps, but Quincy Williams being hurt definitely hurt, because they lost the speed at linebacker. So, this is why, I mean, in the draft, I was like, man, I was surprised we didn't draft a linebacker. I thought we would get obviously everybody wanted the Kobe Dean at one point, but even later on, it was like, man, we could really use some linebacking speed, some more talent, because Sherwood's not really playing. Dean, they're coming off injuries. So linebackers, I think, are an area that's still a concern. Like, if there was a position you say, hey, would you trade for somebody to trade deadline? If there's a linebacker out there, dude, sign me up, dude. I would be 1,000% in for that.
Or put
There's
Huff
some
there.
guy. There's a guy. I can't remember his name, but there's a guy from the Buccaneers that they just released.
Yeah,
he didn't make it. Like, yeah, I'll send it to you later if I find it or whatever. I can't think of his name now. But all right, so that's gonna wrap it up.
I'd be happy to upgrade that position, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
I agree.
Agreed.
I think that's like one of the biggest holes on the team.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's just gonna about do it for us, So Tyson, thank you for coming on. Definitely appreciate your time, fitting us into your very busy schedule.
No problem.
Everything that you do, you run a great YouTube channel. Everything that you do for like mental health, like we all appreciate that and everything. That it doesn't go unnoticed. So where could people like find you on social media? And like, why don't you talk about your show further, like when it's on and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. You guys doing a great show, man. So thank you for having me. We're just Let's Talk Jets, man. We're at Talk Jets Radio, Instagram and Twitter. We stream Monday nights, Tuesday night, 8:00. We try to stream most games on Sundays if we don't go to them. And that's really it, man. We just have a lot of fun and we appreciate all the support, dude. Seriously, like it's been crazy at times, but our chat is second to none. Like you guys know, it's chaos and our community is really cool. So we appreciate it. We have a lot of fun and we're not experts, man. We're just fans talking football and we drink some beers while we're doing it. And that's kind of it.
Right. So Tyson, thank you for coming on. Everybody else, you could follow us on social media at everything NYJ. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Yeah, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. That really helps us out. Gino is Italy Jet on all social media platforms. He's a great follow as well. All right, so thank you guys for watching. Talk to you guys later.